Okay, we're recording. We're going to get this going. So this is a meeting of the Sylvania City Council's committee, employee and community relations committee. Present, myself, Patrick Richardson, chair, committee members, Katie Cappellini, Doug Hanum, Brian McCann, Bill Sanford from City of Sylvania Economic Development. And then we have Ray Navarre and Dani Fuller to talk about their bid. That being said, thank you all for being on the call. We wanted to finalize some of the details we talked about for the 2021 city calendar. We know that Bill has been in touch with some of the people that submitted bids, and we went, due to cost-wise, we thought having arrow printing do the printing would be better, and we wanted to ask the team from Flanders and Fuller more about their design ideas and things like that. So kicking it off, does anybody have any of the questions? Did anybody prepare any questions that want to ask Dani or Ray in specific? If not, do you guys want to go ahead and talk us through your ideas?
I don't have any questions. I
didn't either.
Yeah, we want to hear from the smart people.
Do you guys want to give us a quick overview of your thoughts? I'd say creatively, artistically.
Well, yeah. Well, originally when we proposed it, did it go out in January? The idea was to kind of do a behind the scenes, because so often when we're putting events together, or when the city's putting up banners, we didn't feel that the city of Sylvania knows how much effort goes into behind the scenes. So that was, I think, pretty much our proposal. I don't know, it's always fun to walk down Main Street and see Pat O'Brien doing the flowers, such and such, whatever like that. So kind of more of a behind the scenes look. However, it is now May 21st, and we're just now kind of talking about the calendar. And there are no things going on in Sylvania currently for this effort. So I guess what we would like to talk about is a little bit of how we are going to have to backpedal a little bit to kind of come up with what would potentially be a new plan, or I don't know, come up with something a little bit more creative, because we don't have the opportunity to do this behind the scene look anymore, which I think you guys understand. I mean, I know that we can come up with something, but one of the thoughts we had just the other day was maybe even, it has been proposed to us many times to do a Redbird calendar. So because we are limited to the events that are going on, maybe kind of playing around with that illustrative idea, and proposing maybe something more graphic. Obviously in the past, we've always done photographs. Maybe we could do something more graphic. He's kind of our city mascot. And maybe we can come up with some fun things that suggest what we do in the city of Sylvania, what does happen around here, what does go on. But maybe from a more graphic standpoint. That was the first thing we thought of the other day. We still have the opportunity to go back through old pictures if we need to. It's the one thing that's always difficult is when we end up doing the calendar, but we're not aware that we're doing it until midway through the year. And we've wasted January, February, March, and April opportunities to kind of jump in and start doing the calendar. So that's kind of where we're at right now. I don't know if you want to add anything.
Are you guys good?
Yeah.
So, and this is something that Katie brought up to me that I think we can talk about later, of possibly doing a multi-year contract to avoid that in the future, but that's a discussion for another time. So we are here now, and it is May. So what I hear you saying, I think we can all acknowledge the world is different now than it was 2 or 3 months ago. So you're saying your original proposal that we have creatively is different than what you're actually thinking about doing, because who could have foreseen the last 2 months, and there's no events, there's no local fest, there's no Maple in Maine, there's none of that stuff for you to take pictures, no Memorial Day parade, all that stuff. I mean, that makes sense to me. I guess from the committee standpoint, do we want to see another proposal?
I think the Redbird idea is great. I mean, because I know you guys have talked about it before, and I feel like lucky that you never used it before, because now in the instance where we're in this weird situation, we have something good to fall back on that's not already been done.
So what does that exactly mean, I guess? What do you mean by the Redbird? Can you like expand on that idea a little bit?
Yeah, I don't know if you've seen, like, I'm sure you've seen all of the Redbird posters that we put out each month, which is also not happening right now. And I think it's what people have said in the past. It would be so cool to kind of put all these Redbirds together and create a calendar. So we have a lot of like footage related to that. He's kind of been a character. People are always asking. It's fun to watch what Redbird's doing next, what adventure he is on. So we could kind of come together and come up with what are some cool things that Redbird could be doing throughout this calendar, and utilize him in that way.
For instance, like with the seasons or the holidays.
Yeah, he's dressed up. He has a scarf on.
Pickleball.
He's playing pickleball. He's doing all these different things. We could, there could be some write-up about all the things that go on in Sylvania. It's just now it's Redbird doing it because unfortunately we've had to go to an alternative universe to make these things happen. That's the first thing that popped into my head. I don't know if that even sounds interesting at all.
Yeah, we could present like a few more ideas, but I do think that one is unique. One, because we do have Redbird Arts District here and he is a mascot for our community, but also it is the Ohio State bird. So obviously it's not just downtown Sylvania. Like Redbird is bigger than just our little town.
But it would also, yes. And it would also like just continue to reinforce for those, the other issue is there are people that come in all the time and say, oh, I didn't even know there was a Redbird Arts District, or I didn't know about this Redbird. Well, Redbird is on our Dora. Redbird is on our banners in downtown. Redbird is kind of slowly being presented in a lot of things that we do. So this would help bridge that gap where people are like, what is this Redbird? So we could talk more about Redbird Arts District, our downtown.
I'm afraid of what I'm about to say, but it could even be, I think Dani and I have talked about this. It could even be like a story from each month. So you start and maybe, Redbird talks about something in the winter and we develop a story through the whole calendar.
Yeah, and I think, speaking for myself, I'm not the creative artistic type, so I would definitely lean on you guys for all that. But speaking practically, before we get too far into this, do any of the changes you're proposing artistically, will that have any change in your cost in your bid?
No, this is a bonus to you guys.
Great.
We will not add to the.
Good sell.
Yes. Okay. That
I mean,
sounds
I think
good.
it's a win-win for both of us. We're always trying to figure out other ways for people to know more about what the Redbird Arts District is. So I think that would just enhance our end of it too. So no, I don't think it would cost anything more.
Well, we've worked with you with projects in the past, and I think we all feel comfortable with the way you guys work and your artistic ideas and things like that. Would you be comfortable if we passed this resolution that said, or passed a motion that said you guys were using Aero Printing was getting the bid to print and you guys were doing the design? Does that work for you guys?
Yeah.
We love working with Aero.
I enjoy working with Jan, so that's not a problem with me at all.
Cool. And then Bill, do you have any update for us on where we are with sponsors?
I think we're fine with the ones that we've had before, but I'll be following up with them. I usually do that in the fall, but I'm sure we're going to be okay, but I'll double check on all those.
So then that brings me to another point. Like you said, when you said the fall, what's the timeline look like on this? When does it need to go to print in order to get out in time?
That's a question
For Jan, probably.
We haven't printed with them before, but typically mid-November.
Okay.
And I guess I would reach out to sponsors too as soon as possible because financial budgets are tighter than usual.
Yep.
Right.
And life is just different. So.
Right.
Are there any bird groups that we could reach out to in terms of sponsorship?
Birds Unlimited.
Birds Unlimited?
Hey, if anybody has any ideas for sponsors, you know, I think we're all ears on that. So
The Enterprises.
What about Kripke Enterprises?
Yeah.
We'll have an aluminum bird.
oh, perfect.
Well, regarding sponsors, Dani, is there any problem with when we get the sponsors for you to be able to incorporate them into the calendar?
No, we usually get that like last minute, right, Bill?
It's like it depends. Like some right away, and we get. But last year there were a couple that were last. There was one that was last minute. So it depends. I'll start that earlier, the process, and Ray's right. It could be different this year. Some people that Republic's been a sponsor. I don't think we'll have any. Then Dave White, and I'm think they'll be fine, but you don't know, you know. So we'll see.
I mean, Redbird could be in a Dave White Chevrolet. You never know. So there's that increased need, maybe.
Yeah. I love the out-of-the-box thinking. Are we, as a committee, the committee members, do you guys feel comfortable making a motion on this if we don't have the artistic side of this totally fleshed out yet, as we're kind of talking through this?
I do.
Yeah, I do. I would too. I mean, we need,
It's already late.
you can't have the artistic, can't expect the artistic work to be done without a commitment to the artists, I think.
Yeah, I agree with that as well. So I think we have a pretty clear direction going forward. Yeah, Bill?
Patrick, I'm just going to add, I mean, with Dani and Ray know what we're talking about, and they've done the calendar. So if it was a different designer, then yeah, I'd be a little more apprehensive about what we're going to see. I think we know
Sure.
the deliverable is going to be pretty good. So yeah, we just need to give them some space there.
Okay.
Back
Sorry.
to the 3 to 5 year commitment and commitment to the artists. Bill, can you find out if we can, I mean, do we have to do a whole new RFP, or can we just add that to the one we have, or what do we need to do to make that happen so that they know this year that they're going to be doing it next year, so they can already start thinking about it? Because May is, I feel like
Right.
this happened last year
The
too.
last, like,
Right.
all
Yeah, this is
3
just,
years.
we're in like a bad rotation here. We need to improve our rotation.
Well, with everything going on, we can look into that for a multi-year, maybe 2 years at a time, but I would say approve this independently, and then say even before this one's complete, so then in November we put out, so we know by the end of the year who's contracted for the next year.
Yeah, I think it's a good idea to have a longer term contract, but I do think contractually, the original RFQ said it was for the 2021 calendar, and that's what people submitted bids based on what they knew. And I don't think it's the best practice to like move the goalposts on that at this time. I think if we do another RFP for a 2-year for the 2022 and 2023 and 2024 calendars and see who comes in, I think that would be great, because I definitely agree this should be getting done sooner than halfway through the year. But
Maybe
here
we
we are.
can commit to having this meeting in January next year instead of May.
Yeah, if
I'd
the
be
art
fine with that.
could go out in the fall, and even if you choose or confirm a group in like November, that would be beneficial for photos, because we'll always need photos for November, December, January. So like the snowy weather or the holidays, like we can't go back and reshoot Miracle on Main Street or Christmas or holiday events.
So when do you think we should send out the RFP?
in the fall.
October.
In the fall. So in October, we should send out the RFP, and then we should commit by November. We should be having this meeting in November.
Well,
I agree.
actually, I think we ought to do it even earlier.
I
We
was
ought to
kind of
do
thinking
it-
the same thing.
We ought to do this as soon as we get back from Labor Day, so that we have the fall, we can make a decision. We have the fall to do photos and.
All right,
Yeah.
so as soon, I mean, do we want to add it to the next council agenda that this is what we're going to do? Do we have to do that, or?
Patrick, you
I feel
can
like
just
there's
talk
gonna be
about that
some
in your report.
unnecessary hoops to jump through. What?
Yeah. I can talk about it in the report. That's fine.
Okay.
So yeah, we'll plan on doing that, like we said, after Labor Day. From here, we'll, so I'll make a motion. Is there any other comments or questions? I'll put it that way.
Only thing
No.
I would say, oh, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
The only thing I would add, I know that during this process, other bids have been, that the template would be provided by the city. The template of the calendar would be provided by the city, and our photos would be provided by the city. I would just like you guys to know, for our services, we're not giving you our template. We're giving you our service. So we would never turn over our template to another person, design firm to bid this out. I mean, you're not paying for that. You're paying for our service. So I just want to make sure that's clear moving forward, that that is something that we own.
Good copyright point.
Yeah, I kind of assumed
And hanging
that.
out with lawyers too much.
Yeah, that sounds good to me. I think that's fair. So I'll make a proposal that we accept the proposal. I'm sorry, let me start over. I'm gonna make a motion to accept the proposal from Arrow Printing to do the printing for the 2021 Sylvania community calendars and using Flander and Fuller for the design and artwork.
Second.
Moved and seconded, all in favor? Aye.
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 Any opposed? All right, with that being said, we're gonna have to have another meeting on, I guess, you know, at least for me, I'd like to hear as this progresses for artwork, and then what we include, as we've talked about in the past, holidays, things like that, you know, which religious holidays we're including. So I think once we get the design down, we can start talking details on that. So I do think we'll need another calendar meeting before the end of the summer, and we can go from there. But from here, we've got a good path forward. We have a motion, so you guys can get to work. Yeah, Bill?
Patrick, just a comment on the dates. Yeah, if you have anything, in the last couple of years, we have not had any comments about dates that should not have been on or that we missed. We think we've got a pretty good handle now. After a first couple of years, we either missed some or then we put too many on or whatever. So we've got a pretty good sense, I think, right now, because we're not getting any reaction out of it.
Good. Well, thank you for the update. Is there any other business to come before the committee before we adjourn?
So Dani, is this an appropriate use of the logo?
Yes, but the actual logo is moved over a little bit. I'll send you a new version.
Okay.
It looks great.
Cool.
Oh, actually, now that we're talking logo, I have another question. You know, so months ago, maybe Laura sent out a bunch of different letterheads and pins and asked us all to vote. Whatever happened with that?
So currently, I can tell you,
I can give an
I
update in that.
sent over the letterhead to Arrow.
Right.
It was a vote.
To answer Katie, that Katie and Laura, everybody responded. I believe that maybe one council member, and I don't know who, but she got 6 responses, and it was 5-1 on one of the choices, and that's what was sent over to Arrow, and I think that's what Dani's talking about. So, because we needed to, one of the departments needed some stationery ordered, and that's what prompted that, to get it moving, but that we did get that information.
Moving on to business cards next.
Business cards, name tags. I really want a hat.
Okay. You can do that too.
All right.
I'll just keep sending stuff to Laura. We have a Dropbox kind of going now where we have an approval file and a example file. So hopefully more approvals can start sliding in, and we will get a hat on there as well.
Well, even if you just said, I'm not asking anyone to buy me a hat. I'm just asking, maybe we can set some stuff up at Jute Mode and just order it. So
Jute Mode supply.
Right.
Yeah.
So
I can mock some stuff up. Yeah, I can mock some stuff up, and you guys can approve or vote on that, and then maybe we can have a period of time where that's up with Jute Mode supply, and you guys can order what you need.
Maybe just skip the vote and just do what looks good. Show us what looks good, and then we'll just order it.
I'd be happy to spearhead. I mean, we work with them a lot here, and I mean, I'm sure everybody knows the guys there, but like, I think, you know, they've got a Sylvania shirt on there now with the old logo, and I don't think any of us like approved that. you can go on, it's just the one maple leaf and it says Sylvania City of Trees.
We want the approved version.
Speaking
Yeah,
of approvals, Patrick, I haven't approved any of your posts.
Approved any of my what now?
Your posts.
Posts, what
Cool.
posts?
Your Facebook posts.
Instagram.
Oh,
Instagram.
with the logo.
Feel free to ask my advice on anything that you want
Yeah.
to use personally with the logo.
I would love any feedback because I'm,
All right.
yes, I would love any of that stuff.
When is like the City of Trees month or oak openings special week or something like that?
Last week.
Okay,
The week.
cool. Maybe 2021.
Awesome.
Cool.
Yeah,
Well,
I'll
thanks
get-
guys for being here. Really appreciate it. I will call this meeting adjourned at 5:52 and we will
Second.
see you guys at the motion to adjourn.
All right.
Second.
Awesome. Thank you.
Second.
Thanks,
All right.
everybody.
See you guys later. We're calling it.
Bye.
Bye. Yeah.
Ciao.